Welcome to our part 3 video. Okay, let's get started. We'll just continue what we have finished last time, and we tried to complete our layout for the left frame. If you can see from here, we're done with the title and the background color, the frame in the left side, our label for the name of the activity, the start time, the end time, and adding a add entry button as well as the schedule activities. So for today's video, we're going to add a validation here in the add entry. Okay, so let's get started. For that case, let's try to review our code. First, what we need is to create a button for our entry. Now, for that case, I think we're going to add, since we had here our add entry button, we need to create a function for that as well. Okay, now for the function, I think I'll just put it on top. Let's say this will be good if you just put it on top. So maybe I'll just put it here. I call that one as define add entry. Okay, so I'm gonna call this one as add entry function. Let's finish. So there's a need for us to identify what are those things that we'll be adding. Okay, now we need to put our empty, what we call this one, initialize the activities wherein it can be leased outside. So first I have to color activities, then this will be empty. So what we will be doing here is trying to initialize the activities list globally. Okay, so we're going to do that here. And later we're gonna use that. So let's proceed now in our function add entry. So from here, I can call activities, referring to this one, activities, that we will try to use the command append. What we will append, meaning we will try to add into our empty list, which is referred to this one, empty list. Then next is we will call in here our function, the function that we're going to create later. So I'll be calling this as get user input. Okay. So this is a function that we're going to add into. For now, this is actually nothing. It's empty, but we'll just finish it. We'll just add it later. That get user input, that is where you're going to get the input from the user, right? Okay. Anything that you're going to add something, okay, it will be added here. Let's say I'm going to add that function, the get user input. Okay, this one. We're going to create a function so that this get user function from here that we're trying to call in will actually do something. What we will be adding here in the get user function, let's say I'm gonna call this one as new activity. Okay, activity. Then since this is an empty dictionary, so we're going to create an empty dictionary. Okay, and then new activity again. So inside here, you will identify the name, what you want to. display on it. So perhaps I'm going to call this one, let's say, name of the activity. So I'll just put it name of activity. It's something like this. But you can also shorten it if you like. So that would be okay. Okay. Name. So it's better I'll just use this one. Name. Anyway, you can just improve later for readability purposes. Then what will I do next is I'll be adding here the activity name entry. So, which is referring to this one, act name entry. Okay. So we will try to copy this one. This is where the source of our entry and put it here. Then that get. Okay. Next, new activity again. Okay. New activity followed by, so since we will be having our start time, we're going to get the start time, then this is where we're going to put the start. Okay, then the keybind for that would be, first we need to identify that it should be integer. Of course, where's the start time entry, so we're going to copy this variable start time entry and put it here, then type get. Now, since we want to identify that it is an integer, unlike with this one, this automatically it's a string. But if we want to specify that this becomes an integer, then you have to add int and then close and open. Okay, so that is for the start time. Okay, you can get it. It's the start time. Next is we will continue. I think I'll just copy this one. I'll just copy this and I'll be replacing the start with the end. It says that's the end time. However, we're going to replace this with the end time. So what did you put here? End time entry. Okay. So we can copy this, the one that you had added, and paste it here. Okay. End time. So we can now accept, this function can now be used and a part for the user entry. So this get user entry, okay, this one will actually contact this part of your code, this function, and then perform this portion of your code once this is being accessed. Okay, so for that is for the get user. Now we will proceed. Activity name. Now in the activity name, okay, entry, once the user will, after clicking the button add entry, it will insert. Then at the same time, the this one will be cleared. Okay, I'll just copy this one. Then we will use the word delete. Okay, this delete will actually clear the activity name entry. So inside this portion, we can add zero, meaning everything in. And since we are using the TK, I had to add here TK dot end. Okay, at the end, up to the end, there's the end of the entry. So same thing with the start time entry. Okay, I'll just copy this one, start time, and then copy this part of the code. It will be clear out, and then the end time as well. Okay, let's copy this part of the code. So we don't need to type it that way. Okay. Hmm. And Another thing that we're going to create is the schedule of activities. But for now, let's try to check on this one. Hmm. Let's say print get user and so what will happen if I'm going to print it? Let's say let's just try to check the add entry. Haha, new activity. Let's try to run. Okay, activity 179. Okay, add entry. So there's no error for that. Okay, there's no error when it's actually working. Okay, what I want to do with this part is that when I click the button add entry, okay, let's say we will try to add here the button. Say message box, uh, show info. Then I'll be adding here success. Then here the successfully added. Okay. And for this to work, when I click the button, it should display suc- successfully added. Now, this message box, if you notice, there is an underline yellow because we hadn't imported yet. So we just had to add it here. Message box. Okay, that's it. Now it's gone. Of course, in our button for the add entry, I think we need to add it here. Come on, this one. What's our name? Add entry button so that it will be performed. Okay, so let's try to run again. What will happen? If you're going to enter, okay, it's running now. Activity one, then let's say sudden, then wait. When I click add entry, the button should appear. Okay, successfully added. It's being added now. Okay, so we're going to add another one. So that's it for this video. And for the next video, I'm going to add a code for the schedule activity portion. So get that. And if you were not able to follow me along, you can just rewatch the video from the start again. You can just pause it and then just type the code. Okay? So that is for now, and I'll see you in the next video.